Hey, welcome back to another video. My name is Blake. This is Merch Campus, a channel all about merch by Amazon. We share strategies and tactics to help take our accounts to the next level. So we're in the heart of Q4 right now. We should be seeing all-time highs with our sales. Now, a lot of us, particularly older sellers, took a big hit. All their best-selling designs, for me, hundreds of them, just have stopped selling. But I'm still selling shirts every day, more from shirts I uploaded this year, which kind of goes to show how big of a season Q4 is for sales. Because even though pretty much everything can be taken away, you can still make sales. Someone asked me recently, December's epic, but then after that, what happens? And you typically see a crash, so you make sale, and then Jan and Feb is like boom, down. But there are ways that we can kind of prepare for that and prevent the crash from hitting that hard, because those 2 months, Jan and Feb, can be pretty depressing, but you can still get some good sales. So I wanted to point out 2 methods I use to look ahead, and they're great methods, one more by looking at the past and one by looking at the future. Now, this is Merch Informer, and if you don't have it, there's a link in the description. But if you do, awesome. This is what we're going to do today. We're going to go into the merch archive. You may have seen me use this before. We're going to go to Jan, pick a random day in January. What this is going to pull up are the best-selling shirts on the 10th of January of 2018. So why are we doing this? Merch, if you happen to be on the platform for a little bit, you'll notice kind of tends to repeat itself. The same trends kind of happen, the same shirts kind of sell during particular seasons. And so we're going to go back to Jan and see what was selling in Jan to get a sense of what will sell in Jan of 2019, right? So as we scroll down, I tend to avoid the big brands because they're there, they drive their own traffic, there's not much we can really do about it. And I look for more organic merch shirts because a lot of us, I highly recommend we build our own brands, whether it's on Pinterest, Instagram, Etsy, things like that. We can go into that in another video, but in this case, we're just trying to rank shirts organically for particular trends so we can get sales, right? And so I'm looking for a trend that happened in Jan. All right, here we got one. Black History Month, massive trend on merch. And you're going to see it again. It'll probably be a fat trend again in 2019 and then again in 2020. It's just the nature of merch. It kind of like these cycles tend to repeat itself. And I think this is going to be in February. But as you could see on the 10th of Jan, this was already one of the best-selling merch shirts. So you can see how already a month prior these shirts sell. And I can almost guarantee that it's going to sell again in the Jan upcoming. So this is one big trend that I see going to happen, which is the Black History Month. I have some shirts in the Black History niche and they do very well. So now there's some creative ways that we can enter these niches. So for example, what I did that worked was I was thinking, okay, who was, for example, the first black pilots ever? Or the first people in office? Or the first lawyers and things like that, where there were these milestones that were broken that could lead an example for other people. And I've seen sales in pursuing that idea. So there are creative ways to enter this. And if you don't know what to do, I suggest you go to Google or you go to Pinterest and you search this niche and you try to get ideas and see what people like and what they would buy, and then try to come with a unique offering. Because remember, what we're doing in this strategy is we're looking where organic traffic is. And organic traffic is going to be around Black History Month in the Jan and Feb. And so if we can just try to put ourselves in front of the people and say, hey, do you like this shirt? The 2 things we're going to try is we have to rank for it, right? So we have to do good keyword optimization, and even if you can, run some ads. The next thing has to be a good design that resonates with a niche. It has to be niche relevant. It can't just be this wacky design that people can't relate to if they're looking for it, right? We hold up the shirt if we can get in front of their eyes and say, is this something you might want? And the idea is that they'll say yes. Okay, the next one is, this is a cool idea. You can basically look ahead. You saw that this was a big seller in Jan, right? Epic since January 1978 was selling. So you could probably look in the future and say, okay, so just add 1979, probably do well for people turning 40, or 1969 for people turning 50, and so on and so forth. More interestingly to me, I would intersect these with niches, right? So also in the description in my PDF, I talk about how we intersect niches. So we have birthday, so epic since, but then you could also intersect it with a particular demographic or a job. So like this mom was born in So we're not just having like a generic birthday thing, we're actually specifying it to particular demographics or jobs. Then we go down a bit further. Okay, so now another big trend, and it's always huge in merch, are school-related shirts, whether it's teachers, students, classrooms, events around school. Back to school is one of the big trends, happens in August. And this is another trend that happens in Jan and Feb, and this is the 100th day of school. It's basically 100 days of school have happened, and they're commemorating it, and it's like a milestone that we achieved. And there's so many different ways that you can enter this trend. We know it's a trend because it's selling back in Jan, and as you keep going down weeks into Jan, you could see more and more this 100-day of school shirts kind of popping up, along with other things. Like, for example, here, this was because of the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles had made it in. And so what we would do, for example, you say 100th day, let's find a 100th day of school shirt. All right, here. You do 100th day of kindergarten, or 100th day of preschool, or 100th day of first grade. Some people are doing, here, 100 days smarter, and then you have all the crayons. Make sure that everything that we're kind of entering is trademark checked. So these are some of the big trends that I see already in Jan. And now I know for a fact, oh, there you go. So Valentine's Day is the other big one that starts to sell. There's so many different ways. Again, if you look in the PDF, I talk about how you would want to intersect it. So you take this big holiday, which is Valentine's. And of course, for one, you can do for couples, for partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, but then you can also intersect it with hobbies. In this case, they did it with gaming and video gamers. But then you could also intersect it with jobs, right? So if you have like two people who are dentists, instead of two video game controllers, here, you would put like two teeth or something funny, like a dental themed thing. So that's a job intersect. And then this is a hobby intersect, right? And then you could do a sport intersect. So two dangling like volleyballs, right? Or whatever. Using Merch Archive, we saw validated sellers from last year that are probably going to sell again in the next year. We've identified the trend, and if we start to enter some of these niches now in Q4, which is some of the easiest time to rank, it might not be a bad idea to prepare for that, because we know they already start selling in Jan, which is about a month away. So that's looking to the past. Now looking to the future is this website called daysoftheyear.com. And what I like to do is go to the month that you're interested in. So you browse all the days in January, and it gives you all the weird holidays of that month. Keep in mind, some of these are truly wacky and zany and don't probably have a lot of traffic around it, but others are totally legitimate. One of these weird holidays is Pi Day, like the math symbol Pi, and that's in March, and that crushes it on merch. Like every year, there are Pi shirts that start selling like crazy. There are ways to see that, okay, within January, individual days can get a lot of organic traffic, and we want to rank for that. For example, here on the 2nd of Jan, World Introvert Day. We know that sarcastic introvert-themed shirts sell well on merch. What would we do? We would create something around that introversion. You look on Google or Pinterest, Etsy to get some ideas. Make sure that there's no copyright infringing or no trademark infringing. And then we would put that keyword in the description, the World Introvert Day. As long as that phrase as well is not trademarked. But we would say, for example, in the bullets, wear this shirt on the 2nd of January 2019 for World Introvert Day. The perfect gift for introverts around the world. Something like that, where you have these keywords where people, if they're ever looking them up, your shirt will rank for that. Because that's the whole strategy here, is we're just trying to tap into organic traffic that's already flowing. Another cool thing is if you go down all the way, you see what the whole month is around. So not just specific days, which is great, but you can see, okay, so what if we do hot tea month and you do a lot of tea shirts? So I have a few tea themed shirts, which are paired with like books. And some of these, of course, are wacky, like I said, but some of these are funny. Like for me, oatmeal month sounds funny. I would probably make a few oatmeal shirts, like eat your oatmeal, or something simple like that. And if you go to the next month, you repeat the process. Like Hedgehog Day would crush it, because I know hedgehog shirts is a kind of cute niche that sells a merch. The key with this is not to make it just about that day, like National Hedgehog Day, because then if it's not that day, it's not going to sell. You want to make it a cool hedgehog shirt, but then we're using these days to drive traffic, right? So we're going to put that in the listing. 2nd of February, Hedgehog Day, drive traffic to our hedgehog shirts, okay? Or in the brand, National Hedgehog Day shirts and gifts. But then the shirt is generic. So that's the idea. And if you scroll down, you see Library Lovers Month, Bird Feeding Month, and there's all these ways to make designs for markets that are interested in this during the season. So hopefully that was an interesting video where we talked about Merch Informer to look back, which is probably the better strategy because you could see what actually sells, which is great, and you can find some of the core niches like Black History Month, these big trends, Valentine's Day, 100 Days of School. Just a word of caution for Super Bowl, which always tends to crush it. When there are two teams, let's say the Eagles and whatever the other one is, if you're making shirts that are all of a sudden Eagle themed, trying to jump on that, you're putting your shirt at risk. I would always be very careful around sports. Those are one of the more strict, so you'll get slapped. We use Merch Archive, and then also we use Days of the Year to find specific holidays where people are gathering to celebrate, just so that during the down months, Jan and Feb, we can somehow lift some of those sales by tapping into Valentine's Day or Black History Month. Because there's always shirts selling throughout the year. We just need to find where customers are going. You know, we still have a few weeks left of this Q4 rush, so hope it's going well for you. This is what I would do. If you don't have Merch Informer, you can check the description. And if you do, this is what I would do to look ahead. And you can do this for every month, right? I love Merch Archive. And it's constantly logging data for the future years. All right, thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Talk soon.